It was a message disguised as a meltdown. The media called it self-pity. Fans called it defeat. But those who've watched Lewis Hamilton long enough knew better. Standing in the harsh fluorescent glow of the Hungarian Grand Prix media pen, soaked in the sweat of disappointment, Hamilton didn't just vent, he signaled. Sky Sports had asked him what happened out there in Q2. His car? His setup? Bad luck? But his answer was brutal. It's me. Every time. I'm useless. Absolutely useless. The 7-time world champion didn't just throw himself under the bus. He revved the engine, took the wheel, and reversed over himself again. And yet, he wasn't talking to the media. He wasn't even talking to the fans. He was talking to Ferrari. Because right before those sharp-edged words left his mouth, Hamilton had just seen his teammate Charles Leclerc secure a blistering qualifying result. Meanwhile, he sat back in 12th. Same car, same session, different story. The team have no problem. You've seen the cars on pole, he pointed out. So they probably need to change the driver. On the surface, that sounds like a man ready to walk. But in Formula One, surface stories are illusions. Because behind those sound bites was the real narrative, one that former F1 rebel-turned-commentator Juan Pablo Montoya was quick to decode. He called it out for what it was. It's a way of telling Ferrari, if you're not going to listen to me, then you might as well take me out and let me go. This isn't defeat. This is warfare. Internal, psychological, and strategic. This is Hamilton lighting a fire in Maranello and watching to see who scrambles to put it out. Because Hamilton didn't join Ferrari to become another cog in the Scuderia's tradition machine. He came to change it. And right now, they're not listening. Montoya laid it bare. The big thing here is Lewis is not getting the attention he wants, and they're not paying attention enough to him for what he's pushing for. What he's pushing for is transformation. Not just in race performance, but in philosophy. In how Ferrari thinks, plans, evolves. But Ferrari doesn't evolve. Ferrari entrenches. I think Ferrari is very structured in the way it does things, Montoya said. This is our way, and accept it. And Hamilton? He's been bred in the sharp efficiency of Mercedes. In a system where, what do we need to do to win, is the religion, not tradition, not hierarchy, not pride. Now he's in a team where politics isn't a nuisance, it's a language. There is a lot of tradition in Ferrari, and a lot of politics in Ferrari, Montoya noted. And I think Lewis is more used to Mercedes' outlook. It's not about politics, it's about results at Mercedes. So when Hamilton said, "I'm useless," maybe that wasn't a confession. Maybe it was sarcasm, weaponized humility to rattle the cage. Maybe it was his way of forcing Ferrari's hand. Because the truth is, Hamilton knows how this sport works. And he knows that if you want to change the DNA of a team like Ferrari, you have to shock it first, rattle its bones, dismantle its comfort zone. And what better way than to offer yourself up as the problem? But Montoya doesn't believe for a second that Hamilton's ready to throw in the towel. Not even close. It's a wake-up call, he said. He believes Hamilton is battling to reignite something he lost when Mercedes stopped being competitive. That fire, that edge, in qualifying, that ruthless extraction of milliseconds. When pole became a pipe dream, Hamilton began playing the long game. But now he's back in the fight. And Ferrari isn't giving him the tools. In the last couple of years, when the Mercedes stopped being really good, I think he backed off in qualifying because there was no need, Montoya explained. And I think to get it back is really difficult. But difficult is not impossible. And Hamilton doesn't do impossible. He hasn't reached the podium yet with Ferrari, but 3 P4s and a sprint win in China aren't nothing. They're a heartbeat, a signal, proof that under the right conditions the magic still simmers. But magic needs more than hope. It needs change, and without apology. And the question now is, will Ferrari hear him? Or is the most iconic team in motorsport about to learn the hard way what happens when you ignore a 7-time world champion? Because, here's the irony. Ferrari signed Lewis Hamilton for change, for disruption, for the fire that's carried him to 7 world titles. And now that he's bringing it, they don't seem ready to receive it. Hamilton didn't walk into Maranello to play second fiddle to tradition. He came to rewrite it. But what happens when the script doesn't budge? Montoya's insights peel back the layers of this tension. There's an internal war going on, not between teammates, but ideologies. Hamilton is calling out the Ferrari ethos at its core. "Your way doesn't win," Montoya paraphrased, a line that cuts deep, because Ferrari's way is Enzo's way. Political, patriarchal, passionate, yes, but also stuck. Ferrari is a dynasty trapped in its own museum, and now they've invited a revolutionary into the archives. And that revolutionary just turned his microphone into a Molotov cocktail. It's a way of telling Ferrari, if you're not going to listen to me, then you might as well take me out and let me go. Read that again. Slowly. This isn't a man breaking down, it's a man breaking through. And Montoya's right. If Hamilton isn't getting the engineering support, the technical trust, the leadership ear he needs, he's going to turn to the one resource that always gets attention in F1, the media. It's no accident this outburst came after qualifying, when emotions are raw and cameras are rolling. It's no coincidence he contrasted his performance with Leclerc's so openly. It's a chess move. Sacrifice the pawn, shake the board, and suddenly everyone at Ferrari is talking. Is Charles the number one? Is Lewis over the hill? Why isn't the team adapting to his feedback? Why hasn't a 7-time world champion stood on the podium once in a Ferrari suit? Hamilton has always played the long game, but now he's out of patience. Because let's not forget, this move wasn't just about nostalgia or legacy. It was about proving that he could do what even Schumacher needed years to accomplish. Take a broken Ferrari and bend it to his will. But so far, Ferrari's been doing all the bending, of expectations, of results, of Lewis's very spirit. And when the pressure builds at 200 miles per hour, something has to give. Now here's the twist no one wants to say out loud. What if this is the beginning of a fracture? What if Hamilton's message isn't just aimed at Ferrari's engineering room, but their boardroom? He knows the stakes. If Ferrari doesn't shift, he might. Contracts don't mean control, not in Formula One. Not when a driver with Hamilton's legacy still carries leverage. And leverage whispers power. So, let's zoom out. What's really changing here? Ferrari isn't just dealing with a difficult driver. They're facing a cultural insurgency. One that says results matter more than ritual. Innovation matters more than hierarchy. That being Ferrari isn't good enough anymore. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what they needed to hear. Because Hamilton didn't just come to race, he came to redefine. So while critics debate whether Hungary was a meltdown or message, the real question is, what happens next? Do Ferrari's decision makers finally pivot? Will Vasseur side with the old guard or the new general? Does Charles Leclerc start looking over his shoulder? Is this the spark that reignites Hamilton's qualifying pace, or the crack that foreshadows an early exit? Because something just shifted. Not on track, but behind closed doors. A statement was made, and it's echoing through the halls of Maranello. And if Ferrari ignores it, they won't just risk losing races, they'll risk losing Lewis Hamilton. So tell us, is Ferrari bold enough to break its own mold? Or is history about to repeat itself as tragedy? Drop your theories in the comments. This story's just getting started.